We begin this hour in Washington, D.C., where there is new momentum today to release all of the files connected to the investigation of notorious sex offender Jeffrey Epstein.
Today, 8 survivors of Epstein's abuse were on Capitol Hill to join lawmakers in support of a new bill. It would force the Justice Department to release everything the government has connected to that case. Those survivors took part in an emotional news conference where they recounted what happened to them. They also called on lawmakers to support the push to get all of those files released. Just last night, the House Oversight Committee released more than 30,000 pages of documents related to the case. But Democrats on the committee say less than 1,000 of them contained new information.
All of this comes after NBC News conducted an interview with survivors of Epstein and Maxwell's abuse. They spoke exclusively with NBC News Now anchor and senior Washington correspondent Hallie Jackson. And Hallie joins us now. Hallie, I know some of the survivors that you spoke to took part in today's news conference with members of Congress. I know you were there as well. They called this historic. What were their messages?
It was not just a rally, Kate and Zinkley, it was very much a rallying cry. And they had a very clear message to members of Congress and a very clear message just down Pennsylvania Avenue to the White House. They want to see Congress do more for more transparency, to sign on. Their push in this specific instance was to get more members of Congress to sign on to get this bill that you're talking about over the finish line, essentially, that would compel the Department of Justice to release more information, more files related to the Jeffrey Epstein case. Epstein, of course, died by suicide awaiting trial back in 2019 on those federal sex trafficking charges. There was also a message to President Trump, too, which was essentially to the president, support us, back us, believe us, and help us in this effort. You heard many of the survivors who spoke today say this is not a hoax. And that is exactly the kind of language that the president has used and even used again today. And so they are just calling on people to help support them in this push for transparency. We also heard from one individual, one woman who for the very first time is speaking out publicly about the abuse she says she suffered at the hands of Jeffrey Epstein. Let me play you that.
There are many pieces of my story that I can't remember, no matter how hard I try. The constant state of wonder causes me so much fear and so much confusion. My therapist says that my brain is just trying to protect itself. But it's so hard to begin to heal knowing that there are people out there who know more about my abuse than I do. The worst part is that the government is still in possession right now of the documents and information about that could help me remember and get over all of this maybe and help me heal.
And, you know, I asked her at one point, Kate and Zinkley, I said, why you have been silent for so many years, right? You have never shared your story publicly. Why now? Why here in quite literally the shadow of the Capitol building? And she said, because this is what justice is. She wants to be part of this fight for justice. And one thing that I heard a lot, too, over the course of the last 2 days is this idea that courage is contagious, that there is strength in numbers, and that the more these survivors band together and speak out, the more they will be listened to, they believe.
And Hallie, someone else who's speaking, as you mentioned, is the president, asked about the Epstein case in the Oval Office again today. He called it a Democratic hoax. Let's listen first.
It's really a Democrat hoax. So what they're trying to do with the Epstein hoax is get people to talk about that instead of speaking about the tremendous success like ending 7 wars. I ended 7 wars. Nobody's going to talk about because they're going to talk about the Epstein whatever. Know that no matter what you do, it's going to keep going. And I think it's enough.
So, Hallie, some of the survivors had said they were offended that the president has repeatedly called this scandal a hoax. How is the White House navigating all of this?
So the White House is looking at this push that is being conducted by this sort of rare alliance that you're seeing on Capitol Hill between MAGA allies and Trump foes coming together here to try to back this. It's called a discharge petition, not to get in the weeds. And the White House does not back this effort. In fact, a White House official said that helping, they say Thomas Massie, the Republican involved here, and liberal Democrats with their attention seeking would be viewed as a very hostile act to the administration. Very hostile act. This is something that some of the members were asked about today. Now, the White House has said that it does support the work that the House Oversight Committee is doing. This is a parallel push that House leadership also says renders the Massey effort moot, essentially. That basically it's redundant. There's already a move by the House Oversight Committee to try to get the release of more documents. And as you noted in the beginning of this discussion, Zinkley and Kate, they did release just late yesterday some 30,000 plus pages of material, although the vast majority of it, Democrats say, is not new information.
We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.